術開発局2代目局長黒土真由里。
忍び刀七人衆の一人、星垣貴雨、以後お見知り。
Good morning, traders. Good morning. Welcome back to another live stream. If you are new, my name is Zach. This is Real Deal Futures. Before we get started, and we got a lot to talk about today, guys, as I'm sure you know, make sure you read what's on the screen. Trading is very risky. Most traders do lose money. I'm not a financial advisor. I do not provide financial advice. Nothing I say or do is a suggestion or recommendation to do anything at all. Make sure you do your own research, make your own trading decisions. I'm just an idiot here yapping on YouTube for entertainment purposes only. Read CFTC Rule 4.41 on simulated trading, which is what this is, even in funded prop firm accounts, and the affiliate and partnership disclaimer that says I stand to make money from links and codes in my content, like Top 1 Futures, code RDF, Bookmap, Edgeful, and others. Let's hop on to the charts, man. How do we want to do this? Because we got some stuff to talk about. We got some movement in the futures prop firm space. We got quite a bit to discuss this morning. I'm gonna go good mornings. I'm gonna go market, and then we're gonna talk about Project X, Tradeovate, the whole prop firm platform development, right? We'll try to keep it as drama-free, and I'll share my opinions, of course, but factual as we possibly can, man, because there's way too many distractions. Way too many distractions. I'll show you guys what I just tweeted or posted on X, whatever the hell you're supposed to call that. It's way too many distractions. So, good morning. First and foremost, good morning, Paul S. Good morning, Blue Water Cruiser. Good morning, Fast Money. Andrew Bags, Mad Moxie, Relaxing Zen, Dr. FP, Carolina, Daniel. If you're on here, say good morning. Say it back. No, I'm just kidding. Welcome, man. Appreciate you guys hopping on. We got more and more hopping on the live stream. It's absolutely insane. My growth on YouTube, week over week, day over day, month over month, it seems to just not be going down at all. We are breaking out through all-time highs. I am grateful for every last one of you guys that hops on, hangs out, contributes, engages, gosh forbid, uses a code, and supports your boy, supports yourself, supports the channel. I appreciate you, but you certainly don't have to do any of that. Free means free. Now, markets. Before we jump into talking about prop firms and and what's going on, which I think is important, right? Markets first, man. Let's remember why we're here. To make money in the markets, to try to extract some damn money from these wild markets that we're trading. Pretty calm open here on YM after some gnarly selling pressure to end the week last week after pushing through all-time highs, right? That's my overall comment on these markets. We're coming into the middle of November. Next week is Thanksgiving week. We have some major U.S. holidays on the board. And then we only got a couple more weeks before Christmas and New Year's, man. We have less than 30 trading days. I think it's 28, counting today, that I counted full trading days left in the session. And some of those are in between Christmas and New Year's and before and after, like Thanksgiving, and they're horrible. Guys, we are running out of time here. We do not have much time left in 2025. It's time to focus. So, not too much out of Friday's session. I took an L here with you guys, getting short on a pullback to VWAP, looking for a continuation of some of this selling pressure. We didn't do that. We popped up, took me out, and then just kind of chopped around VWAP. Overnight session, we opened up pretty calm, cracked to the downside right off of the open, and have since just kind of drifted back and forth across VWAP. No crazy movement. We are opening up pretty balanced, right? Near VWAP, near that prior day volume point of control, which has already been tested. Really close to being in between volume point of control, dead set right here in the middle ground of Friday, not yesterday, of Friday's volume profile. We're pretty close to that middle ground, opening up slightly below, right? But within yesterday's range. We have not come up and down in pre-market to sweep prior day high or prior day low. We have a fairly tight trading range relative to the average daily and average session ranges here on YM. Pretty balanced, right? This has given us not a lot to go off of so far as the Sunday open. Pretty choppy here on YM. Let's take a quick look before the market opens at ES. Yeah, a little bit similar movement out of ES, right? It popped to the upside, but we did break above. Looks like we did break above Friday's high here in ES, and now we've started to sell off a little bit. Similar move on NQ as well. Nothing too crazy, but we did sweep Friday's high on both of those. And now we're starting to turn to the downside back below VWAP. Overall, right? Overall, let me zoom way back out on the 15-minute chart. You know what? Let's go to the 4-hour chart. What does this trend look like to you guys? You know, overall. From these lows like up to here, right? Higher time frame trend. Bullish, right? Extremely bullish when we go year over year, month over month, week over week here. we're really not in any type of massive correction or recession by any sense of the word in my book. Overall, up near the highs, we're getting pretty choppy, man. We've got a pretty gnarly pullback that formed here, multiple down days, big push to the upside, and then some really aggressive selling pressure, right? Have we started to break down like crazy where, oh man, we should really be looking for shorts right off the bat, coming to the market every day, being really cautious of, hitting the buy button? Not yet. I don't think so. Not even close, right? But more recent, right? 15-minute, last couple days, some gnarly selling pressure to finish out last week, right? This was some downward pressure for sure. Really carried for a day and a half before we got a little bit of a correction here on Friday. Now opening up pretty balanced. I'm going to trade this very unbiasedly today. That's my game plan. Very, very unbiased. We sell off. I'm right off the open. I'm going to look for longs, back towards VWAP, back towards that volume point of control. We pop off the open. I'm going to look to shorts, right? That mean reversion trade. If we start to push in one direction really aggressively, I'm going to try to find my way in a continuation, right? Maybe a break, retest, some kind of market structure, some level being taken, something that gives me an indication that I have a good way to structure risk and then flow with the trend. So it's kind of that two stages that I look for. But here we go into NYSE Open right now, guys, and then we'll transition. I'll talk a little bit about the Project X debacle or just updates, right, what we have going on because the space continues to change. But here we are, 9:30. Just to frame this a little bit tighter with you guys. Yeah, I'd buy on a break of prior day low. I'd buy on a break of Friday's low right down in here. I wouldn't mind that. It would generate a pretty quick trade if we start to sell off right away. I wouldn't be able to get a stop loss like all the way down here the way that I would like. But I think there's a pretty good chance if we continue to the downside right now, like right off the open, that we do one of these moves, right? And even if we're going to continue lower, we pull that. Can we do this and just absolutely dump none of this at all? Right? Sure. We could do this, right? Here, here's 930 right in here. We could knife down. Not what I trade for. Not typical price action and market structure, at least by the way that I subjectively define typical. So I'll be looking for a sweep of Friday's low for a potential buyback up. Not going to set a limit order here, right? I'm going to see what happens if we break that level, then allow myself the discretion to potentially get in, right? Valid area for shorts. Yeah, we're not popping off of the open at all. We're staying below VWAP right now. If we came back to the upside, I'd have to see what happens. Potential areas of interest would be right here. Let's mark some zones for you guys because people seem to like zones. That's kind of potential area of interest. Not kind of. That's potential area of interest number 1 today. This would be area of interest number 2 all the way down here. Right? All the way down towards the low from the 7th. Area of interest to the upside. This would be a little bit tight, but it's definitely area number 1. And then even farther, all the way up here above Friday's high, all the way back up here. So, again, I don't need to mark these zones for myself. They're pretty basically coming off of visible range volume profile, prior days, volume points and controls, highs and lows, tops and bottoms, right? Support, resistance, supply and demand, order block, whatever you want to call an area of interest on your chart that you think price may or may not return to for any reason, or may or may not be a key area for a reaction, either a continuation or a reversal. That's what I've got on my chart. I try to keep this stuff stupidly simple, guys. Like really, really, really stupidly simple. The more complicated I make it, the more complex I make it, the worse I do. Almost every single time. I try to add anything or sound smart or create some narrative other than I think it's going to go up, so I'm buying, and I'm going to structure my risk and try to hold on to my winner. Or I think it's going to go down and I'm selling. I'm going to try to control my risk. I just do worse. So anyway, that's what I'm looking at. I'm not going to leave these on here, but if you guys want to take a peek, that's what I'm looking at, right? Down below Friday's low, cracking a key low, coming into an area of high volume, right? Right down here, multiple lows, multiple reactions. We got a volume point of control here for potential bounce. If we slice right through that to the downside, all the way down here, area number 2 that I'd be interested in. We pop to the upside. back above these session highs, right? Back above these session highs from Friday from NYSE. Some key area of interest, right? Thursday's low. Some chop from the overnight session right there. A volume point of control from the 11th, right? Some tops and bottoms. Additional volume points of control. Visible range volume. High volume node. Be interested in that. If we sliced right through that, it'd be above this area, right? And then if I scroll out, you can see a whole lot more volume traded up here. That's what I'm looking at for buys and sells. Now, we don't get to any one of those areas quickly, right? We start to form some more market structure. We start to sell off really aggressively. We're forming really clean breaks and retests to the downside. I might try to flow with that, right? I might try to get in on the direction the market's just going to drift for the day. So there's potential for all of that. Discretionary, price action, market structure, volume, a little bit of order flow here on the left-hand side. That's how I trade. That's how I approach the markets. That's what's gotten me funded, gotten me to live accounts, kept me in live accounts all the way to my 10th payout. Yesterday, trading live with you guys here in the same account every damn day. Plenty of people doing much more than that, taking gazillions of dollars in payouts and running up insane profits. Hopefully I'll be there one day, but until then, I'm just going to keep improving. Now, that was the long rant, guys. Good morning. That's what we're looking at. Doesn't take me very long to take a look at the chart, zoom out the way that I just did, get some areas of interest, right? Do some analysis on how we're opening up. If there, any really strong, bias that we want to take a look at. Is there any news? There's no news for the day. Nothing on the financial news calendar, and have some key areas of interest. We stay in here. We don't do jack anything. I'm not going to do anything. This is no man's land for me, right? Pretty much like this. This is no man's land. Okay, 500 point area within prior days candle that is just chopping around VWAP. No good opportunities in here. This is zoomed out on the 15-minute chart, so there is plenty of opportunity to work in here if that's your style. You want to be really zoomed in. You want to work on low time frames. That's totally cool. Got a little breakdown here, sweep of this low from the open, and a pop right back up to VWAP. Right? Maybe you're very, very, very aggressive, or much more aggressive than me, and you jump in on things like that. So let's see. Now, good morning, Pam. Good morning, Cook Smith. Good morning, Rhombus. Good morning, JB. BT Art. What's up? Haven't seen you in a while, man. Ivan, what's up? Daniel, good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Jess, Slothfather on Kick. Kobe, what's going on? What's going on, boys and girls on Kick? How are we feeling today? What's up, X? I'm sure there's a bunch of you on X, as there always is. 15 of you. We gotta get those numbers up. There's usually like 70 of you on X, and then maybe not usually, but there's usually a bunch of you on X, and then nobody comments or likes or does anything. You just watch from X quietly. So let's talk about this, guys. While we watch the market, you got my analysis. I'm gonna start by saying this. I don't like drama for the sake of drama. I don't like playing Keeping Up with the Kardashians. I don't like engagement farming BS. I think a lot of what we see in the futures prop space, in the trading space, a lot of it is just engagement farming, entertainment. It's fun, right? It feels good to scroll brain rot all day, but it doesn't really talk about trading or the markets. It's not going to move us forward. It's not going to generate any good discussion or conversation or challenge thoughts around trading itself, right? And how we're going to move the needle forward to consistently extracting money from the markets. So I try to be cautious. Every once in a while, I joke around. I throw a meme in there, right? We have some fun. But I try not to stray too far because there's just so much of it. And I've found myself, you scroll for a little bit, you're watching, and all of a sudden you're like, damn, they got me watching like the Real Housewives of trading here. This is ridiculous. Like, what am I doing? Get back on the charts. Like, it's time to focus up. But there are things that we actually have to talk about where it's not drama. It's like, this is what's happening, right? And what does this mean for us as traders? So the platform that I'm trading on right here, guys, is Project X. I'm sure if you're in the futures prop space, you know about Project X. I'm trying to make this quick. Project X released a statement on Saturday over the weekend to, from what I've seen, the same statement to majority of prop firms outside of Top Step, that they are not going to be supporting the platform being used by prop firms as of February 28th, 2026. If you want the actual message, it's in my Discord. It's in Top 1 Futures Discord. It's on my X. You can read the actual message for yourself. Top 1 Futures was nice and transparent and actually copy and pasted the message that they got from Project X in real time to tell you exactly what was going on. Shout out Top 1 Futures for keeping it transparent. So, what does this mean for us as traders? Project X, by all accounts, from what I've seen so far, is not going to be available anywhere but Top Step. I'm not going to go into too much opinion on the move by Top Step and Project X to do this. The why, right? We don't need to put our tinfoil hats and speculate. You can form your own decision. What it means for us here on any other prop firm outside of that, but at least definitely for Top 1 Futures, which I can speak on specifically because I don't know what's going on at everybody else's prop firm. They are continuing to offer Project X. You can buy a Project X account for now. Nothing is changing just yet. The end date for Project X on Top 1 Futures is going to be February 28th, 2026, 2 months into next year. I would expect that they are going to stop selling Project X accounts on Top 1 Futures in the near future. What accounts are you going to be able to get? Tradeovate, NinjaTrader, and TradingView, because that is rolling out this week. You guys probably saw some of my posts testing the new Tradeovate accounts with Top 1 Futures. They've been working on it for a long period of time. They've been working with Tradeovate, NinjaTrader, TradingView to bring this to fruition. It's definitely taken them a while, and they've been working out all of the kinks, the bugs, testing and retesting. So when the launch happens, that it's as smooth and as close to 100% as possible. But we are expected to be able to be trading on Tradeovate here with Top 1 Futures later this week. I'm gonna say Thursday looks like the day, but they've already said they're gonna continue to work out every single bug and not launch until it's as close to as 100% as they believe, which I agree with. I respect that. So, a couple of questions before I even read the chat that we're probably gonna get. Well, right off the bat, just to finish with that, I think it's time, guys, to get comfortable on Tradeovate. It's time to get comfortable on NinjaTrader and or TradingView. You can log into TradingView and trade directly from a TradingView chart on the TradingView web platform or desktop platform through Tradeovate, right? It seems like if you are a futures prop trader, you're going to be forced over to that platform, whether you like it or not. Maybe you can find other options and Rhythmic and different things with other prop firms, or maybe you are just going to stay with the one company that seems like they own it. I can't confirm or deny that. I don't really know the inner workings of that. That is bringing it back to them to have exclusively. For me, I'm going to get comfortable on Tradeovate. I'm going to have to adapt, right? I like a TradingView chart. I'm pretty comfortable on TradingView. I'm going to challenge myself to test and work on Tradeovate, kind of see what that feels and looks like for me. And if not, I'm going to work on TradingView, right? This is a TradingView chart in front of me. It's integrated with Project X. I don't love the way that TradingView prints. We'll go into some nuances. But that's the challenge here with trading, guys. It's the challenge here with prop firms. It's the challenge with this space in general. I would say that the futures prop space, the prop space in general, the Forex CFD prop space, it changes at a higher rate than anything else, right? And if you're going to do well, you got to be really flexible and you got to be able to adapt. You can't get too set in your ways. I'm not super stoked about this. I'm not happy about it. I'm really disappointed in the way that everything's been handled by Project X and Top Step and that whole deal. Because of the situation that I'm going to be in right now, right, where I'm trading on one platform for a long period of time, and now I will have to change. But that's up for debate. I think as traders in the prop space, we're going to have to be very adaptable, very flexible, ability to shift, to change, and to just have that flexibility. It's similar to trading. The markets continue to change, right? Platforms do get updated in the trading space in general, outside of prop firms, right? You do have to continue to adapt. Technology continues to change. Things come and go, right? And I think the best traders that are able to really have a lot of longevity to do this for decades, right, are the ones that are able to adapt. I mean, think about the change from trading in the open outcry pits of Chicago to behind a screen by yourself, right? Who was able to adapt to that? Extremely drastic. But I definitely think in the prop space specifically, you got to be able to change and adapt and be flexible and grow. But in trading in general, and it's as simple as watching the markets. The markets continue to change. They are very dynamic. the instruments that we're trading, the price action, the market structure, the volume, the underlying, things behind it, the rules around, centralized exchanges, right? What we can and can't do, all of these things, regulations, they continue to change. If you were looking for a space with a ton of certainty and comfort in, repetition and routine, this is just not the place for you. So, open for questions. Happy to discuss it. Just wanted to finish on this. It's too early for me to have any specific answer because they don't have any specific answer on exactly what this transition is going to look like. I haven't seen any firm roll out an exact what this is going to look like. But again, the general is I would expect Project X accounts to stop being sold at all prop firms except for Top Step, but I could specifically talk on Top 1 futures in the coming weeks to prepare for that end date of February 28th. I would expect Tradeovate to be the main one as it is, right? It's the premier prop firm. It's awesome to see Top 1 Futures get that partnership. They are obviously the leader in the space. It's awesome to see that. I don't know exactly what they're going to say for if you're on a Project X account past February 28th at any firm. I'm very confident that no one's going to be hung out to dry, that your account's just going to go away, all your profit's going to go away. I think it would either be one of two options, a forced migration where they say, you're done on this date, you're going to have a new Tradeovate, NinjaTrader, TradingView account with your exact, drawdown, max loss limit, daily loss limit, profit, all that stuff. Or they would just continue to support it past a certain date with no ability to, renew or reset or have a new account. And then if you had any type of change, it would be into a new account, right? If you got called up to live, if you took multiple payouts, if you lost the account, you would be into the Tradeovate account. We've seen this at other firms when they stop offering platforms, right? They usually just say, okay, we're not selling any more new ones and you can't buy any more new ones. Eventually, everybody's either going to lose the account or get kicked to a live account and nobody will be on this platform anymore. So that's the overall big development in the prop firm space. Questions, concerns, feel free to throw them in the chat. We're watching the market chop at VWAP. Again, this isn't drama. This isn't engagement for the sake of engagement. This is what's happening. It's going to affect all of us. We got to talk about this stuff. If you guys want more of my opinion on it, I'm happy to yap a little bit about it. But yeah, I just don't think there's as much value in trying to get into the nitty gritty behind the competitive business decisions of prop firm CEOs and what's happening and why. Maybe it would help you to anticipate some of this stuff. Maybe it is important because you build or lose trust in the way that a firm operates and you're putting your hard-earned money with them. I do think that's important. But there's so much of it that I feel the need to try to temper it myself and encourage you guys to say, how much information and how much time do I need to spend on this stuff that's taking me away from actually trading, reviewing, journaling, back testing, forward testing, things that are actually going to move the needle forward. There's some, because you got to know who you're working with and putting your hard-earned money with, right? Because changes like this are going to happen. Prop firms are a risk. They make changes. They make changes to rules. They fold altogether. But past a certain point when it's day in and day out and you're just keeping up with the Kardashians, I think it gets to be a little bit silly. So anyway, that was overall here was my tweet from this morning. All right. Let's see if I can pull it up on screen. It was right before I hopped on. This is really what I was thinking because I was scrolling and I'm like, damn, man, it's no trading on my timeline. It's crazy. But I'll answer questions in a minute. Here we go, guys. You can read that one. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Yeah, I like X because of the easy copy trading option. I need to get good with Ninja, though. Yep. Morning, Nate. Only thing certain is change in any business. Ours traders is no different. Absolutely. Yeah, there's a quote, right? There's a quote from one of the market wizards. I don't remember the exact quote. I don't remember who said it. But the quote is, he was asked, what do you think about the changes in the markets with algos and algorithmic trading? This was way back in the day when algorithms were first coming into electronic trading, really aggressively, right? all the firms were starting to deploy what we have now, which is just tons and tons and tons of this high frequency trading. And the comment, which is a repeated quote a lot, and again, I'm going to get it wrong, but it was something along the lines of, the markets are the same as they always have been, because the markets have always been changing. They were changing back then, they're changing now, and they're going to be changing in the future. And I think if you can reflect on that and really accept that, you don't get pissed off when change happens. You expect it to come. The markets are going to continue to change. Prop firms are going to continue to change. The opportunities available, the platforms, the pricing, the inner workings of everything is going to continue to change in this space. It has in the past. It's extremely fast with prop firms, for better or for worse. But you do have to review and continue to assess opportunities and then make the best decisions for you. Take advantage of the stuff that's in front of you, but expect the change. Really expect the change. Similar to the market, right? You're going to have to be dynamic. You're going to have to adapt. You're going to have to continue to work with a changing animal that you're constantly trying to wrestle. Taking a quick Forex Factory. We'll take a look at news in a minute. Tradeovate on TradingView is really not bad. I did even get comfortable with Tradeovate itself after about a week. Seems weird. Yeah. Yep. Excuse me. Yeah. TradingView, trading from Tradeovate on TradingView. So again, Tradeovate and Ninja, just so you guys know this, Tradeovate and NinjaTrader are the same company. Right? I don't know who owns who, but it's like one company essentially. Tradeovate is its own trading platform, right? Its own specific chart, trading tools, depth of market, all these things. You can log in from multiple brokers, including Tradeovate, directly into a TradingView chart, like just the regular TradingView charting platform, and you can trade right from that chart. You have an execution, stops, targets, multiple different, tools. There's one thing that I don't like about that. That is very clear cut. It's just a fact. TradingView charts are slow. There is a ever-present small amount of lag. I'm not talking about the delay if you don't pay for real-time data. I'm talking about the very small split second, millisecond, however much time it is, lag in the way that price prints and the way that candlesticks print, especially during high volume, high volatility events. I don't love that, and I don't love staring at a TradingView chart to trade. I really like staring at a integrated TradingView chart here on Project X, because I've done that for now, I don't know how long, a year and a half, 2 years. So you can feel that out for yourself. You'll be able to log in and test it yourself if you have the Tradeovate platform. So I admire Top One for the decision. I can't hate on any platform, but I can never stand Project X. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, honestly, Top One's not really making any decision. I mean, they've of course wanted to partner with Tradeovate and NinjaTrader and TradingView, the premier, platform to be offered with prop firms, right? It takes I would assume you have to be somewhat legitimate to get that, right? I'm being sarcastic there. So that's awesome, but they're not making any decision to do without Project X. Project X made the decision and sent that out on Saturday to everyone and their mother. Yeah, personally, just to talk a little bit more about it while we're watching the market not do anything, because this is the topic of the day. I like Project X. I traded it as Top Step X as soon as it launched, and I really liked it. I love the user interface. I love the risk tools, right? I'm not going to go back on everything that I've said and all the videos that I've made. This is the truth. I really do like a TradingView chart, and I like how this one is fast. I like the user interface. I like it. I like everything about it. I don't love everything about it. I like it as a whole for the most part, and I think it comes from what I was born and raised on, which was initially a TradingView chart. A couple things that have definitely gotten worse and worse and worse, which were issues every other damn week where we have outages and blown accounts. One thing that I defended in the past, but I started to talk about last week, was fills. This was before all this happened. I started to talk about fills on Project X. It feels to have gotten worse. I feel like I'm getting dogged 3, 4, 5, 6 points on YM every time I enter or exit with a market order, which is just out of hand. I've talked about some of the back end stuff, the security stuff, but that's what they're doing, right? I don't know if it's out there anywhere extremely clearly that Top Step owns Project X, but that seems to be the assumption by the space. It seems to make sense the way that everything has played out up to this point. I am definitely not a fan of any firm that is removing platforms out for any other reason than like the platform is bad and they don't like it. Like we've seen with other firms, I'm in favor of what Top 1 Futures is doing, which is adding more platforms, giving more choice to the traders, right? More freedom, more flexibility. I am not at all a fan of a prop firm being the sole owner and operator of a platform and having no other options to trade on. I think that opens the door for exactly what you and your tinfoil hat think it opens the door for, right? Problems, lack of transparency, all of the issues around having no checks and balances within a business. We've seen that a lot in the past with Forex and CFD prop firms. So anyway, that's the whole spiel. I hope Top 1 Futures lets us move any accounts we have to Tradeovate. I don't expect that to happen, Joe. Don't really want to use Project X anymore, and I've got a past challenge ready to be activated. So I don't expect that to happen. I don't know if it will be open based on this new information, right? But as platforms have been added to prop firms in the past, like across the space, there's been only really one instance, which I think is cool if they can handle it, one instance where they allowed traders to change platforms, right? Like if you had a Project X account and Tradeovate is added, you can change platforms. I don't think that's going to be available. I don't know, because maybe they want to encourage people to get off of Project X sooner rather than later, and they're going to take that on. We're just going to have to wait and see there. I wouldn't expect it over the next couple of weeks, though. I really wouldn't. I would expect with Top 1 Futures specifically, them launching Tradeovate and them starting to not sell Project X accounts. I would expect that from most other prop firms. They would just not, hey, we have whatever other platform we have. We're not going to be able to support Project X anymore. That's going to be done in February. We're not going to sell it all the way up until the date where we say no more. And then I don't know what that February thing is going to look like we talked about. I don't know if there's going to be some forced migration where you would get what you want, where you get to move from Project X onto Tradeovate, or if they would just say, like a reasonable one would, you could just keep trading it, but you can't get a new account. If you lose it, if you get kicked up to a live account, any change, you're going to be at a new Tradeovate account. Sorry if I missed it, but did Project X give a reason for separating for prop firms? Is this something that happens often? No, not something that happens often at all, as far as what we saw in the space like over the weekend. I can go through like the actual message. They gave a reason. I don't think it's the, again, here comes like the opinions, right? So like, I don't know how much helpful this is. I don't know if it's helpful for us to talk about, but here's the message, right? I'm going to read it. This is the exact message to Top 1 Futures. This is not Top 1 Futures messages to everybody else. This is from Project X. And I think Top 1 is the only one that's actually posted the message they got. A lot of firms have not said anything. They've been very vague about it. They haven't even said that they're not going to offer it anymore, which I applaud Top 1 Futures. And I think all of us as traders and even partners and affiliates have always gone, dude, as soon as something's going down or something's good or bad, like, please let us know about it, like, right away. So here it is. We're reaching out to share an important update. After careful consideration, we've made the decision to wind down our Project X third-party service offering. Since its inception, Project X has supported a wide community of partners. We're proud of what we achieved and deeply appreciative of the trust our partners have placed in us. Shifts in operational demands and upcoming compliance reporting, oversight, and audit requirements have made continuing third-party support no longer sustainable. These changes would otherwise affect your ability to be properly serviced through our platform, and maintaining the integrity and protection of every partner remains our top priority. Protecting trader data has always been foundational to Project X, in line with the values and policies we've always maintained. All partner data will remain isolated and secured throughout the wind down and thereafter. We will continue supporting third-party Project X partners through February 28th, 2026. and will provide further guidance to ensure a smooth and professional transition. Please refer to the attached letter for more details. We are sincerely grateful for your partnership and collaboration over the years. If you have any questions, our team is here to help. That's the message directly from Project X. So they hint and point a finger at why, right? Why it's been difficult. Here's the tinfoil hat, or here's the opinions, right? Not the tinfoil hat. Here's just the obvious opinions. There's been a lot of issues with Project X recently, right? Across multiple partners, their prop firms that they service, that opens the door for a lot of liability, right? A lot of liability for them. Also, which it seems to be the case, again, maybe it's confirmed somewhere and they've talked about it. I don't know. I think it's just like the basic assumption. If TopStep owns Project X, which it seems like it does, or is at least joint partners or something, and they're the only one that's going to have it, it would be a really aggressive, cutthroat business decision to release a platform specifically tailored to prop firms, get everybody on it by allowing all of the other prop firms to get their traders on it, and then pull the plug and say, well, guess what? If you want it, you can only come to our prop firm to trade it. None of you guys will have it. You're all going to have to transition off of it after years of having it. So, you make the decision for yourself and decide. One thing that's been clear, whether or not it's been at their hand or not, right? Like intentional issues or non-intentional issues, is that there's been issues, right? And that opens up the door for a ton of liability for the platform and the prop firm behind the platform that owns it, maybe or maybe not, right? So, it's one or a combination of all of those things. To me, it just usually like, if it makes sense and it logically looks like one way, that's probably what's going on, right? But that's the fact. The way that, I will just comment one thing further. The way that this is worded is that all third-party service offerings are going to be pulled. So the prop firms that offer Project X that aren't TopStep, that haven't said anything yet, it's pretty easy to discern that they are also going to lose access to Project X. Not confirmed. Maybe there's going to be something offered specifically to one or another, but it does not seem like that's the case for Top 1 Futures, or at least anybody else in the space, based on the multiple, first pieces of information, right? So that's the nitty-gritty of this, guys. I agree, and learned on TradingView. Was a little bit of lag. Saw it then. Yeah, I'll load it up. We can look at the lag together. And guys, just so you know, coming from me for sure, because I'm going to be having to, be forced into it with you guys as well, right? I'm in the same boat. I'm on a Project X live account with Top 1 Futures. I'm not going to be able to trade this for forever. Eventually, I'm either going to have to lose it or they're going to force me off of it, right? So I'm going to be on Tradeovate Ninja TradingView, right? So I'll be releasing a ton of videos. I'll be going over all of the, benefits and drawbacks, things that, tips and tricks, right? How to log into TradingView from Tradeovate, if I'm going to use Tradeovate or TradingView directly, kind of how I'm going about that, things that we can use and can't use. I'm going to put a bunch of stuff out on it coming up. So that's the deal. TSX isn't going anywhere, right? I have no idea, Nate. I have absolutely no idea. I would assume not. I would assume this all fits in line with TopStep just the past couple months pulling all of their other platforms, right? You can only trade on Project X with TopStep now, which is the same thing. That's what they call TopStep X. So I would assume not. I would assume this was right in line with their plan, because now they only have Project X, and now you can't trade with Project X anywhere else. And I would assume they own it, right? Because they're calling everything else third party, and they would not be third party. But I don't know. I have no idea. I think this is part of their plan that they've kind of hinted at a lot, and that they've released some information on, where TopStep created their own platform, right? Project X, released it to the world to get everybody hyped up on it, pulled all of their other platforms off, right? Like you used to be able to trade on whatever you wanted to on Top Step. Now you can only trade on Project X. They've positioned themselves to open up a brokerage, to make it a live brokerage account where you can just deposit your own money. I think that's coming very quickly from Top Step based on what they've talked about. Being able to take payouts into your own personal like brokerage with Project X through plus 500 or not through plus 500 through whoever. And this part of it is like, well, now it's just for us. Like we're just going to have, Project X. Guys, still watching the market. I just want to comment real quick because obviously we start talking. I'm talking all about the market. Not doing anything. Back to VWAP. If I was extremely bearish, maybe a sell from here, but I'm not. We're in the no man's land zone. I'm not touching this yet. Not touching this. So we'll keep talking about prop firms. I love Project X when it works. Easy for me to use at work. Easy to understand. They just lost all the faith with traders, the glitches and lack of support to care, make a BS, especially Top Step. Oh yeah, yeah. I lost all faith in platform, all faith in in everything that's going on over there. As far as what it is, like personally, again with Top Step, I don't think they were always kind to me. I was on Top Step TV, just so you guys know. I was on Top Step TV for a long time. I was technically an affiliate partner, but I never made any money from them by anyone using a code or a link, although I had one for a very short period of time. I was on Top Step TV for quite a while. Was on every segment there. I had a regular segment, but I wasn't paid to be on there at all. And they gave me like a $50 gift card to their store one time. I think that was it. But they were all cool people, all good people, right? Interest, like I was very good for me and my opportunity at the time to be able to, be on there, trading accounts with them. I got to trade with all of their big traders, right? Which was cool. I think they had and they still have one of the best offerings as far as the rule set to pricing goes and to, what you can do with them. I was not happy at all. They've had a lot of changes over the years, as everybody has. I was not happy at all to see how the affiliate situation was handled with them. They had a ton of big affiliates and partners, and they essentially, that helped build their brand. That's kind of how it works in any industry. And after, a long period of time, and they're the big dog in the room, they kind of iced everybody out, right? They did a mass cut of everybody, which I'm sure you guys were all aware of when that happened, right? All the big traders that were on Top Step are no longer on Top Step. Wasn't super stoked about that. Was not super stoked about them, pulling all of their other platforms. I don't think that was a for the trader move. And now I'm super duper duper not stoked at all about this. Not at all. I understand it from a business perspective, man. This is competition. Business is cutthroat. I think it's easy to see through everything's for the trader. We're all for the trader from all of these prop firms. I don't think anybody's an angel at all. But business is business, man. They have a bottom line. They have tons and tons of employees, as does everybody. They've all got families, and their goal is to grow and to grow that bottom line number. I think they all try to find a balance, but you can interpret these business decisions and kind of situations for yourself. That's what I'll say about it. But yeah, I try not to have any like hard feelings or talk crazy negative about, anything unless it's really supposed to be spoken crazy negatively about. I mean, this is wild, absolutely wild. And it negatively affects me directly, who's trading on the account for years, Anyway, no doubt I felt the crap feels. Yeah. Oh yeah. My plan is to buy the cheapest eval available and get used to Trade-O-Vate and trading again. Yeah. I would recommend that. Great point. I would get a demo account on Trade-O-Vate, Ninja, TradingView, whichever one you're going to go to, regardless of where you are, if you're on top one or anywhere else, because this is happening across the space. And I'd get comfortable. I'd start to get comfortable trading it. It's not the easiest thing to do. It's not. And I'm a big believer that, your race car cockpit is important. Staring at the same thing day over day, the little nuances, they are important. I'm not so specific with it, but the feel of a TradingView chart versus a Trade-O-Vate chart versus a Ninja Trader versus Project X, completely different. The way everything looks and feels, the way the candles print, the volume, everything is different. Very different. You know, so if you're using discretion, intuition, your implicit memory, staring at the chart, that takes an adjustment, man. You know, so I'm not looking forward to that, but that's going to be part of it. I really like the fast data on Project X. I use NinjaTrader. Competitions were kind of asleep. Yep. KRM, what's up? Muhammad, stop asking me when the giveaway is, man. You hop on every day here and ask when the giveaway is. I appreciate you being here, man. We do giveaways almost every day, random days, random times. But if I see the same people hopping on over and over again and just asking where the giveaway is, I'm just going to mute you guys. Gotta love real-time drama and FTC review worthy vertical integrations. Yeah. Old school here, CQG. Yeah. There you go, Bags. CQG's the GOAT. I use CQG for my data with my personal account. CQG is legit. Talk about like never, ever, ever seeming like they have any kind of outage at all. There's question on like how good it is for level 2 MBO data, which I don't use it for, but you know, that's questionable. Rob, what's up, man? How bad is TradingView? It's all I use, so I have no reference. Yeah, like here's TradingView. Hang on one second. I mean, this is a TradingView chart, right? So how can I do this test with you guys? I'd have to completely like mess up my my screen here, guys. But you know what I'll do for tomorrow? We can do it. I'll put a TradingView chart split screen with a Project X chart, and we can watch this candle print in real time. My TradingView chart looks extremely similar, and it's kind of nuanced to say this, but you know, here's what I feel with the TradingView chart. You see the way this candle prints, right? We're coming back and forth on it. You see how quickly that price changes, and it's exaggerated during high volume, highly volatile times, right? Here is a TradingView chart. Let's see if you guys can see this. Here's a TradingView chart, right? I'm not logged into anything. This is YM on the 15-minute. Watch like how. Oh, actually, you can even watch Bookmap because Bookmap's real-time data. Like this is like slow. This is real time over here, and Project X is real time, like the price and everything. This is slow, not by minutes or multiple seconds, but what feels like a split second. And when the market's kind of doing what it's doing right now, and it's kind of moving slow, like it's not that big of a deal. On the 15-minute chart, it's not that big of a deal, honestly, for me, who's entering at and around zones. But you know, speed and timing is really important in trading, right? Like split seconds could mean, you know, hundreds or thousands of dollars, right? Because based on where entries and exits and take profits have to go. So it's more so like, I don't like knowing I'm on a delay from the real time market, like that as fast as I can get. So you can see the way this is moving right now. Even if you just compare it against Bookmap over the left-hand side, that's level 2 data with Rhythmic. This is slow, you know, by a full second, a millisecond, you know, I don't know. And I don't need any recommendations on this. This is the way it's been. I've tested everything. I have extremely fast internet. I have hardwired, right? I've done the downloaded, I have extremely fast. It's a brand new MacBook Pro, not brand new, but it's a newer MacBook Pro, like top spec. I have done this without streaming and all the other stuff that I'm doing right now. It's always there. I've done it on the desktop. I cannot get rid of it. It does not print like a Project X chart. Like, let's go back over here. Take a look at the way that this candle is printing, right? You could watch the rapidness in movements. It almost feels like we're missing tick movements on TradingView. So, you know, I'm going to try on Tradeovate. I'm probably just going to trade off of a TradingView chart. It's just going to be too much of a change to come to Tradeovate for me. I can feel it. So that's probably what I'll do. But we're all going to have to make this decision, you know, unless you just trade on Top Step and you're on Project X already. Or you trade on Tradeovate already for all these other firms. I see what you mean. They update every 5 seconds on free plans. Yeah, there's a delay. Get a paid plan. This is a paid plan. This is a paid plan, Ash. I already talked about it. Come on, guys. You think I have the not paid version of TradingView? Come on, man. Don't do me like that. I have the highest paid version of TradingView. I don't have the professional plan, but don't do me like get a paid plan, Ash. Come on, man. This is with this is with real-time data. Right? I could log in with a CQG broker. Here, I'll go even further. I've logged in with a CQG broker. I've logged in with prop firm data. I've logged in with Rhythmic data. It's all the same. And again, I want to be clear. When you're not logged in or you haven't recently logged in or you pay for real-time data directly from TradingView because they charge you for it like $7, there's a D that shows over here, like a yellow and red D, and it's delayed by like multiple minutes because real-time data for futures is not free for anybody. It's not free. You can get it free multiple ways, but it's not free. So that's different than what I'm talking about. But yeah, sorry, man. Ash goes, get the paid version of TradingView. Come on, man. Look at my effing screen. I pay for everything. I got 47 different data showing over here. Mad funny. Get the paid version of TradingView. Yeah, it doesn't do it. But yeah, you do need the paid version of TradingView. Or you can log in with a prop account. Anyway, reply to Rhombus. I'm sorry. Did I miss it? Old school CQG. I bet it's TradingView. I like Top 6X, but I had Ninja Trader. Maybe I missed it. That was funny. Maybe, but also had Ninja Trader lifetime license. Nice. Yeah, Ninja's legit. Ninja Trader legit. That was my issue for some reason. Project X at top 1 behaved completely different than Project X. Project X at top 1 behaved completely different than Project X. I don't know what you mean by that, Omega. I've never noticed them behave any differently across prop firms, and I've had multiple Project X accounts at multiple prop firms, and I've put them side by side specifically to test. I've never seen any difference. It's the same exact platform, and it's kind of why we see, like, if there's an issue at like on Project X, it's like all of Project X prop firms. Doesn't matter the prop firm. I tried TradingView with TradeOvate account. They even tell you that it's delayed. Don't do it. Okay, yeah. Sorry. Ash, thank you. Ash replied to Rhombus. I got it. TradingView wants you to pay for Pro. Yeah, log into. Here's how you get around that, Rhombus. And I'm not sure because I haven't done this with a free plan. But if you log into TradingView with a TradeOvate account with real-time data, it should be real-time, I think, but I don't know, and you would know it in real time. A lot of platforms are not free. That's just part of it. So TradingView, like, if you want alerts, you have to pay. If you want to backtest, you have to pay. So that's just always a no-brainer. Also, I'll give you the heads up. All right. I think I probably got a code for TradingView, but no discount or anything, so I don't even care. TradingView runs. This is TradingView. TradingView runs a heavy discount. The best discount they run all year. I've watched it every single year, and I do the same thing every year for Black Friday. If you want to pay for TradingView, which if you trade at all, it's probably like should be on your to-do list. If you want to backtest, if you want to set alerts, if you want to do anything good with it, all the other benefits. At Black Friday, they run a gnarly discount, and they do something which is really cool, which is they allow you to buy like another year of it, and it just gets added to your subscription. So I have like mad days of the highest version of TradingView because every year, and I'm going to do it again this year at Black Friday, when that 70 or 80% off, that gnarly deal comes, you can just load up on it. You could buy it again. You could like resubscribe or pay for it then or whatever it is, and it just pushes it further out, like that rebuild date. So if you want the paid version of TradingView, you're about to get the best deal all year. It does not come back. They don't do it at random times. It's not one of those like, a lot of prop firms, top one, all the prop firms are kind of always running different deals. You never know when the big one's coming. Black Friday is pretty obvious for everybody, including top one, probably going to have the biggest deal coming up. But TradingView, they're very clear with it. They even send an email that says like, get ready for our Black Friday deal. Comes around once a year. So it's usually pretty gnarly. Yes, Black Friday, that's what I use. Yes, if you log into TradingView using TradeOvate, it'll give you real-time data. Yep. I had a TradeOvate option with Apex once and got hooked on TradingView. Got hooked into TradingView. I noticed right away it looked like delayed data. What the donkey foot is that? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why it's like split second delayed. I don't know. I can't wrap my head around it. I wonder what Top Step will do with TSX. They have employees that went there to help develop it, probably intertwined with business itself. Yeah, I would assume that they're gonna have Mike. I would assume that they're just gonna have it. It's just gonna be Top Step X, and that's it. They're just good. That's the only thing that they're gonna offer, and that's the only place that you're gonna be able to trade on it. And if you want to trade with a live broker on Top Step X or Project X, whatever they're gonna change the name to, it's gonna be with them. That's what I would assume. But yeah, that's the change. If you guys missed the whole conversation, we were talking about the Project X deal, talked about the notification that came to prop firms. Go back. Guys, this is doing nothing for me. I'm hanging out. I know we're an hour into the stream. I've talked to the markets off the bat. Nothing. I'm not trading from VWAP. No news Monday. It's pretty light. I really would like to make progress in all of my accounts. I'm not going to force it. Not at all going to force it. I've been paid well to sit here and not do anything when the market's doing what it's doing right now, and I'm not going to change that. So we'll see. We start to sell off really aggressively. We start to push the upside really aggressively. Take a look. So far, a little bit of a test lower. Pop back up to VWAP. We're going to get our IB high and low here coming up pretty soon in about 10 minutes. That'll give us a little bit more frame of reference. Maybe we look for that continuation on a break of the high or a low. We'll see. We'll see. Even when they upped their prices, it stayed the same for me. So I pay every year at the same price 2 years ago. Nice. Sorry, I quite despise Top Step. The whole idea of 30 days, 30-day, 50% payout is just piracy. Yeah, listen, there's different advantages and disadvantages, right? There's different rules, right? There's all different rules across different prop firms. They have their benefits and drawbacks. It's our job as traders to decide what is a good opportunity or a bad opportunity and what's the best opportunity for us, right? I think, in my humble biased opinion, because I'm partnered and affiliated with Top One Futures, which in case you just are coming out from a rock, this is a Top One Futures pre-live 15K account. This is the Project X platform, so you know what you're looking at. I think Top One Futures has one of the best, because I don't like to say the best because I don't know what the best is for you, but one of the best in general, comparing across them all side by side, instant funded offerings out of everybody. That's why I partnered with them from the beginning. That's why I'm solely partnered with them now. I use it myself, and I think it's an awesome opportunity. I use other stuff that's out there as well, and I think there are other really good opportunities that exist. I also will always fully acknowledge I'm not you. I don't know how you trade. I don't know your capital allocation, your risk tolerance, your experience level. And there may be something specific to Top One Futures that is an absolute no-go for you, and it might be bottom of the list. And another firm might be top of the list. The same when it comes to platforms, right? And data and all of these different things. Nobody can say, like, this is the best, because they're not apples to apples. It's apples to oranges to pears to mangoes, and and then maybe one of them is a rotten potato down on the bottom. Some of them are rotten potatoes down on the bottom, but there's no one best. So that's what I would encourage you guys all to remember. Don't be caught up in that. And also that 99.9% of the information that you're going to get, including me, is biased, right? Is biased because you stand to make money here. Sorry guys, I punched a wire out of my laptop. Mad clumsy. I slapped my hand down and I hit like 4 wires on what's controlling the entire stream and my trading. That would be not fun. Anyway, sit here at VWAP. Let's keep talking. You guys are asking good questions. We can chat about it, man. Yeah, trading switch ups for me are a bit of a no. Yeah, prop firms, right? You might say prop firms in general are a no. You might say live accounts are a no. What's the difference between straight to funded and instant? Rob, I have a good video for you, Rob. My bad, guys. Thank you. Thank you. That video that I don't know how far back I was talking when I muted that. That video was a side-by-side of the top win futures instant funded accounts for Rob that asked that question. Normal giveaway is random days, random times. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Random days, random times for the giveaway, so you don't have to ask about it. But side by side of the straight to funded and the instant funded and the Ignite, which is no longer on there from top one. Oh. Can you think out loud a bit on why you're holding back today? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, Pam. It's a good question. Okay. So, initial analysis, right? Like off the open. Higher time frame trend, much higher time frame trend, still very aggressive, still pushed to the upside, right? Trading around all-time highs. Medium time frame trend coming off of last week. Like I try to look at what did last week look like? Big push to the upside, breaking above the highs, and then pretty aggressive selling pressure into the close of the week. A little bit of a correction here on Friday, right? So how do we open up down here? We opened up in here pretty balanced, right? We didn't crack prior day high or low. We chopped around VWAP for the overnight session. Overall, pretty balanced near prior day volume point of control, right? Off of the open, I was looking for a couple of potential moves for that same reversion play that I look for all the time. Really key spots that I was looking for would be down here below Friday's low, right? Because we had already kind of come down and tested this pre-market low, right? We were trading like really right at that pre-market low into the open, so that's not really a strong low for me to say I want to get long right below that, although that would have paid maybe up to like 150 points. But down here for a long, right? If we crack to the downside, I'd look for a reversion play right back up. No crazy trend off of the open, nothing that would really scare me too much to say like I want to be cautious stepping in front of a moving train. I think there would be a really good opportunity for a long there. Or there was, right, off of the open. Could get smoked on a pull all the way back down here to like the 7th low. To the upside, right, what was I looking at? I probably wouldn't have taken a break just of this level right here. I would have waited for this up here and maybe taken it before a crack of prior day high, of Friday's high. Why? That was session highs right here. We got some strong highs up here, some consolidation. It was lows from Thursday where we bounced and closed. It's also a nice volume point of control, or temporary volume point of control if I make it look that way. Volume points of controls from prior days, highs and lows, right? Some key areas that we put in. I think we could have seen a rejection here for a mean reversion play back down towards VWAP, right? If we're just going to chop, if we're not really going to break in one direction today, and we're kind of going to do what we're doing, I wouldn't mind a from the extreme trade, here. And I know this doesn't answer why I haven't done anything yet, but I'm getting there. Right, something along those lines. This was the initial, like, what am I looking at? Like, where am I, what am I waiting for? That, right? So we didn't do any of that, and here's why I haven't done anything. We really didn't do any of that. We opened up near Asia, London, pre-market low, and we popped back to VWAP. And so far, we really haven't done too much. We've traded in like a 200-point range, right? We also, like, what would be the closest thing for an entry for me? You guys could probably be able to spot it. It would be a continuation short. Closest thing for an entry for me. Why, using my discretion, my subjective interpretation of price action, market structure, and volume and order flow, why am I not looking to jump in short here with a stop just above like session highs or right here? We got no real drive higher. We got no real drive lower, right? We got no super aggressive selling pressure that would indicate a ton of sellers are in the market. And then we pull back kind of shallow, close to that VWAP. And I'm like, we're headed way lower. We've already, made the indication that we're headed way lower. I know I want to be short. Let me jump in on anything that gives me, a way to structure risk. We definitely didn't do that. And conversely, we didn't fake everybody out off the open, right? We didn't pop to the upside, take out like all this level, and then like blast down lower where we just cleaned out shorts, right? Maybe grabbed some liquidity, and we've got heavy selling pressure, candles that are, blasting lower, and I'm also looking for a continuation short on something like this, and maybe I'm waiting for like a small pullback like we're getting right now for a continuation lower, and I have a really clean invalidation level to say, again, guys, I'm just drawing here, so don't mind the numbers. But we got something where I got a really clear spot to say we took everybody out. I'm looking at this as a fake out. Now I'm a continuation, to the downside. We're going to sell off. This move from, the end of last week is prevailing. We didn't do any of that. So what did we do? Nothing, right? Here's our day's range so far. Very tight, very, very tight. Plenty of movement to go to the upside or downside. No sweep of a key level at all for me. Only overnight low broken here, just barely. And we've just chopped around VWAP. We have every 15-minute candle here has traded through VWAP. We got a whole lot of nothing. We're just sitting here at temporary volume point of control. This is probably the volume point of control that's forming so far for the day, which we can drag out. Yeah, we're just sitting right at this area of high volume. This isn't a terrible spot to trade from in general, but it's just not my preferred spot to trade from. You can pick a direction and say, we're really likely to go and break this higher low here. We're very likely, in my humble opinion, to go and break this higher low, and we're pretty likely to not break the other side once we break one. So you could just pick a direction, right? You could just be like, all right, well, we broke the pre-market low and we're kind of bullish overall, and I'm just going to do this. Like that's fine. There's nothing like really inherently wrong with that. I think we're going to return to this level of high volume, from this overnight session, and I got a good way to structure risk, but that's fine. Because if we come down and break this low, I'm dead wrong, and I think we're probably not going to come back up and break this high. And, you could do the complete opposite. You could go, no, dude, we're bearish. We broke down below VWAP. We broke that pre-market low. We're retesting VWAP, and maybe that's your play, right? These aren't bad trades. What I find really frustrating with these, and I think why I personally stray away from them, just in general, I take them. I take them when I believe I have a good way to structure risk, but I find I have more frustrating losses trading from the middle of VWAP, dead set at volume point of control, like for the session. Without a really big move happening first or some good indication, because sometimes we just chop, right? Like this wouldn't be like abnormal for the day, right? Like sometimes we just chop. We're really not showing strength or weakness. We really, at least yet to me, we price action, market structure, volume, the tools I'm using are not showing a super clear direction. We got a tight range. We could easily do this and then pick a direction, right? Or we just chop back and forth. And I find when I start to get involved here, I take sometimes very frustrating losses where I'm stopped out before the trade moves in my direction, or it just chops all day and I go, what the hell were you getting long or short on? It didn't go anywhere. It didn't give you any indication that it was going anywhere. Why were you getting involved aggressively with that? So I hope that answers. That's the that definitely answered it. That's the no trade for today so far. Specific. I'm usually no trade on a slow, choppy, consolidating day, or a super aggressive day where I don't find a way in. Right? It's one or the other. Any day that I just don't get my setup. So, the reversion play is still in store. The continuation play is still in store. The more that this happens, right, the more we just kind of chop around it, stay at VWAP, the less likely I am to trade. Also, I get more and more conservative because I find that when I sit at the charts and then try to force it, right, try to find a trade, it's usually just not as good of a trade. It's usually just a trash trade. I've been marking up IB high and low with you guys, mostly just because we've been talking about edge full. We don't have to go too far with it, but here's our IB high and low, right? The first 1 hour opening range. It's played out pretty nicely the last few days that I've been marking out on the chart, right? Obviously on this day, we broke the IB low and we didn't come back. Took a short play in here that worked really nicely. On Friday, we broke the IB high. I traded against it. I traded for the break of the low. We didn't get that. We broke the high and then we didn't come back down and break the low. That's the statistic. One of these sides is very likely to break. Today, this side is more likely to break first because it was formed last. That statistic I don't pay the most attention to. But the real strong one is that everybody likes to look at, if we break one side of this, we typically don't come back up or down and break the other side. As in, if we break out to the downside here, we typically do not come back up here to break this. 70+% of the time, of the days. We extend by a decent margin as well. There's an average extension. We usually don't just sweep it by a couple ticks and then come right back in. Although all of those things are on the table to happen, market can do whatever it wants to do. But you can use these ranges, these reports from data providers, which are essentially just shortcutting some back testing for you to your advantage. Right? It's one thing happening in the market over another, by a significant percent. So we'll see today. So that's the overall thought process. Pam, this was a good question. I'm trying to give you guys all the sauce. There's another factor in here that's in the back of the brain, right? And I gotta yap about this stuff a lot, guys, because it's different every day. There's different context, and I'm discretionary, right? On a no news Monday, a Monday with no financial news, we got some light stuff in here. But on a Monday with no financial news, and especially a Monday where we have, because I haven't talked about this yet, where we have higher impact news later in the week, along with a larger movement happening, the past couple of days, I'm more cautious of a choppy day, of a consolidating range-bound day, right? I'm less inclined to think that we break out and push, we put a large range in, and we have a big directional move. That just comes from watching the market and watching the thing day in and day out, week in and week out for months and years at a time, where you get a little bit more of that subjective discretion. I will trade no news Mondays every damn time they come, no problem. I don't have hard filters like that. But there's context that comes in, right? A little bit of that decision making that goes, it's also a no news Monday, right? And it's just from basic pattern recognition. Why do I have that? Why do I think that it might consolidate or chop or range around? Because that's happened maybe slightly more often than not on other no news Mondays. And maybe I've traded poorly or been burned or whatever it is. So that just comes in as well. But hope that helps. For the most part, I don't use a lot of fundamental analysis. I don't use a lot of the news cycle. I don't use really any fundamentals in my trading. I really don't. But there's the ever so slight context around when news events are, right? Before, after, during. What do we expect before, during, after? And I use that very lightly within my trading as well, but it's there. You challenged me and you asked a good question. So not challenged me, but you challenged me to articulate the thought process today, and that's good. So that's the thought process for today. I find, for me personally, if there's any days in the market to not trade at all, to skip outright, because a lot of people are there any days you don't trade? Here they are. Major holidays, any holiday when the market's open. I just don't think that there's a good time to trade that. Before and after major U.S. holidays, I typically find abnormal, weird, low volume, low volatility with just abnormal stuff that happens before, during, and after major U.S. holidays. Specifically also around the end and start of the year, right? The week in between Christmas and Christmas and New Year's, and the first day of the new year, stuff like that. You definitely want to be cautious. I'm more than happy to just spend time with my family and not on the charts. Also comes from just burning myself going into at the end of the year, trying to push profits or make back losses. It's a nightmare. But the day after Thanksgiving, for example, I'm going to hop on with you guys actually and trade it live next week. But the day after Thanksgiving, which is a half day. I think it's a half day close. The bond market's closed. We can look at it. It's just nobody's there. Nobody's in the market. You get this just less normal than normal, right? Because it's never really normal. Right before, same thing. Right before U.S. holidays, it's just dicey, man. So that's my thoughts on like not trading. No news Mondays. I'm gonna show up to trade every other day, or as many days as I can. The market's not open that many days of the year. We don't have that many trading days, so that's the overall thought process. But we got, and I looked at that. We got less than 30 trading days left in the year, guys. I think we have 28, including today, days that the market's open. Time to focus. Time to grind. I don't want to incentivize anybody to do anything crazy, but time to focus up. Really time to focus up. I'm happy not trading today. Let's see. Let me back up. Thank you for the video. I know most times, but I never won. I got you. Yeah, you guys don't have to ask for. The giveaway. Random days, random times. Almost every day, almost every time, but random days, random times. I see a lot of streamers are doing comparison websites. Looks like a way to compile all the affiliate links into one site. Yeah, good read, Mike. I think those could be useful, but like, how many comparison sites do we need for prop firms? Like, how many different times is the same website going to be launched with all of the affiliate links attached to every single one of the links on the site? I know, like, I don't know. Maybe they provide some new value, or they have something different, or something. Especially when it comes from anonymous people that don't trade. I think those are like, I don't know who uses that stuff, but all good. Definitely answered it. Yeah. Also, like, you got a grain of salt what I say, because I'm partnered, I'm affiliated, I'm biased. All of those are partnered and affiliated and biased. So it's like, you're getting the review site, the comparison from a person who stands to make more or less money from certain firms. And, it's kind of crazy. Anyway, definitely answered it. Morning, what's up? I'm happy not trading today. Get back off unless something happens. Something not gnarly. Yeah. Gnarly is funny. Yeah, I use gnarly. I use a lot of dumb terms. You can tell my really professional vocabulary here. I don't know. I'm a normal person, and I use silly terms that are not super intelligent. I don't care to sound smart. I'd rather just try to convey what I'm talking about in a clear way. I don't know, you weren't knocking me there, but it's funny because I say gnarly, I say stuff like that. A lot of chop today. Maybe the market's waiting for NVIDIA jobs today. Maybe. That happened to me today. Got lost in the chop. Yeah, man. Yeah. Giveaway. Yeah, we talked about that. Tried the orb on one account and lost. Wasn't really feeling use half risk. That's life. Yep. You ever use opening print as a key level? No, not really. Not really. I'm aware of these things, Rob. But I fall back on the same stuff over and over again. Like, where my eyes are trained to really watch, and what I find is a couple objective levels, right? A couple objective levels. Prior day high and low, overnight high and low, right? Like Asia, London high and low. Opening range to a degree, like what happens after the first hour. Prior week high and low, like, what is up with this high up here? That's like a key spot, and the low, as well as volume profiles, like volume points of controls, value area highs and lows from prior days, and just in general visible range volume profile, which also generally lines up with price action and market structure in general, right? Like just, without being like super definitive and specific about it. Like, this would be a level here, and if you looked left, like what's at that level? Quite a bit of volume traded, but also key spots where we've, had big reactions to the upside and downside, once we've got past that. Those are the areas that I pay the most attention to. I feel they have high likelihoods of being returned to do business at. When price gets there, I think we have opportunities for really big reactions or continuations through. But there's no, and also there's no one best. You watch anybody trade, they're all going to have different levels. It all comes down to, no levels have predictive power, in my humble opinion. It all comes down to what you can build confidence in, right? What you have the ability to structure risk around, and maybe you feel that one thing is more likely to happen over another based on historical price action, market structure, whatever tools you use. But you know, that's the stuff that seems to work for me. And I know it's a little bit vague, but I would ask yourself, like, on my chart, not what I see somebody else take a trade from and it worked out so well, but like, what do I have the most faith in? What do I have the most confidence in? Every time we get back to VWAP, I'm ready to trade because I know we either push through VWAP or we reject and we come lower. You know, maybe you're a VWAP trader. Maybe you are a volume profile guy. You're like, dude, I'm like finger on the trigger at value area highs and lows because I've just watched this stuff play out so much. This gives me a good way to structure risk. Lean into that. You know, I don't believe there's any one best or worst. I think there's some spots on the chart, some tools that are very hard to dispute, like really difficult to, you know, to completely discredit, you know, specific levels on the chart. So that's the thought. We came down like we were going to break IB low, but we ain't break that. We didn't break it. We came down like we were going to break that one first, which is the stat, right? The initial balance stat, that this side breaks first, that we extend this side by a decent margin, that we don't come back up and break this side because this side was formed first. All of those stats have been playing out pretty dang nicely over the last couple of days, although on Friday, the stat of which side breaks first did not play out. We had the upside break first, but the main one, which everybody watches, is that we don't come back down and break the other side. We extend. You can watch, again, this is an opening range, right? These key levels. 15-minute opening range, 30-minute opening range, 5-minute opening range, 2-minute opening range, hour and a half opening range, right? You know, the initial balance is, that's what this is. The first 1 hour opening range for New York session. You know, you might like London session, specifically London, you know, high and low. So many different, you know, levels you could pull. The 50% of the 4 hour, you know, candle open and close. Like, all of these things can be used. News dynamic is hugely helpful. Yeah. And the numbers later this week are after no data, so even higher impact. Yeah. Man, you should charge for this. True. That stupid school run fall exactly at NY open for me. Yeah. Yep. Realized triple speak today, and FOMC. Wait a minute. Trump does talk later. I have my designated news people in the chat. Trump does talk later at 2 p.m. Eastern. But you said FOMC and scared me. You have a lot of Fed members speaking today. Williams, Jefferson, I can't pronounce some of these guys. Waller's a big one into the afternoon. But yeah, we got Trump talking at 2 p.m. and then 4 p.m. So I'd be really cautious around that time. Really cautious into the afternoon. But we don't have any big data release that I see coming up outside of later this week. Outside of later this week, we got NFP. Oh, love it. I had to research the meeting. What's good, RDF? What's up, God's Battle? What's happening? Thank you. Last question. How long have you been trading full time? How long did it take you to be consistent? Get asked that all the time, man. It's a good question. Yeah, we're supposed to get job numbers on Friday. I'll answer that question. Yeah, I pulled the same face as you. Oh, sorry, I meant Walder. Yeah, you scared me. Scared me for a second. You said FOMC. I was waiting for Tom to respond. I'll admit to this. I've been like sleeping because it's been the government shutdown and it's like everything is being delayed and whatever, and you just get into this routine of like there's no news, right? So government shutdown's over. We're back on game time, and I'm actually like I'm cautious. I'm like damn, I'm gonna I might miss one. So you said that and I'm like, oh shit, did I not check financial juice or like a backup site to really confirm that we don't have something else coming in. That could be wild. Rob, it's a good question. How long have you been trading? All this type of stuff. For me personally, if you want, I'll give you the overview, but if you want the detailed answers on this stuff, you want to hear me talk about it, yap about it a lot, I got a bunch of podcasts. You can go to my own site, realdealfutures.com. I have one with Austin Silver. The link is on my site, realdealfutures.com. It's like the first one that I did a couple years ago where I talk in detail about my journey, that type of stuff. I've got more recent ones with him on ASFX. I've got one with Boris Schlossberg. I've got one coming out soon with Traders Post. That should be pretty cool. Just did one. But just so I don't have to repeat the entire interview. In general, so for me, just the basic. Anyone in longs could pop to the upside. For me, man, I like to say that I've been in the markets around 6 years, but I've tried to define being in the markets and trading, because people want to know, how long have you been really actively trading for? How long have you been fully focused on this? And that for me is not 6 years. I was not fully focused back there 6 years. So I'm probably closer to that 3 to 4 year, really heavy focused on intraday trading, right? But it's questionable. Are we actually trading when we're putting on positions in our IRAs and stuff like that? Yeah, you are. But are you staring at the chart for 10 hours a day? It's different. I'm gonna get to that though. I left my career summer of 2023 to go full-time trading. Left my full-time career that I'd been at for that job specifically after college. It was about 9 years after college, or 8 years after college. But I've been at that job for, I think, almost... Oh, I'm sorry, that was longer. It was 9 years after college. I've been at that job for 7 years. Been at that career. I left pretty early. Personally, this is multiple different questions, but I had quite a bit saved up. I had done well for myself. I came to the market with capital, and I wanted to give it full focus and make a run at it. I would not encourage anybody to do that at all. Keep your day job, and it was very difficult. Keep your day job, keep money coming in, work when you can on the outside for trading. But I dedicated an enormous amount of time after, I'd say, 2021 into 2022. And before, just so you know where I was at before I was leaving my full-time career, right? I had started to gain on some consistency, trading live accounts. But the amount of time that I was putting in on the charts, I don't know that, and people say that they put a lot of time in, I don't know that people would rival me with the amount of time that I was putting in outside of work. So I talk about it a little bit, but before I left, for months, I was waking up. Here's how my day would go. I would set my alarm really early in the morning at 1 o'clock, 12:30 or 1 o'clock in the morning. And I would wake up in the middle of the night. I was actually wearing an Apple Watch, so I wouldn't wake my wife up. Wake up in the middle of the night, trade London session, right? Learn, study, read, try to make some money, right? Mainly just lose money, but finally grabbing onto some consistency after a while. After that, maybe catch a nap, maybe just backtest, maybe just study, maybe just reel in my loss or my win or whatever it was. Go to work full time, right? 8, 9, 10 hours. Come back home, get back on the charts, read, study, backtest, go to sleep super duper early, rinse and repeat. Wake up in the middle of the night and trade. Also during the day, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't checking the markets quite a bit. I did that for a long period of time. On the weekends, it was heavy work as well. Heavy work as well. I did that for quite a while. But the question mainly that you're asking here, I know this is a long-winded one, is how long will it take for me to get profitable, right? I used to ask it to everybody. How long have you been trading? How long before you were profitable? How long, before you made money consistently? And here's the really tough answer to that question. It depends, and nobody's going to be even nearly the same. Nobody's going to be close to the same. It can be a very short time frame for you, which is really unlikely to happen, and it can be a decade. It depends, I think, on a number of factors. Number one, how serious are you about trading? How much time are you putting in on the charts? Your own just predispositions, intelligence level, emotional control, your capital, right? But how much time you have to dedicate is a huge one to actually learn. And I would say, for the most part, people think it's going to take too short of amount of a time. I thought it was going to take too short of amount of a time. Almost everybody that I talk to thinks it's going to take way less than it is. And so for the most part, the general rule of thumb that I've seen, I haven't seen anybody grab onto real consistency in under a year. Most people, at very least, it's 2 to 3 years of like serious focused work, right? There's anomalies. There's people out there that, you know, are talk on X and IG and all these different places where I've been trading for a couple months and I made $200,000. For the most part, it's few and far between. You are trying to achieve something that almost nobody achieves in any amount of a time. And if you think you're going to achieve it on the short end of the spectrum, you're just stacking the odds against you. And I think having the expectation that this is not a get-rich-quick scheme, this is just like any other job or career or sport or profession, and I'm not going to be able to turn a profit quickly at all, let alone be on the high end of profit turners in this, in this space in any short amount of time, you can frame that. You can frame that the right way. So I would encourage anybody listening, because that's the question, right? If you're just starting out, if you're early on, I would not expect to start to turn any type of profit consistently in the first couple of years. I really wouldn't. And I would decide on the front end whether or not that's for you. And then I would decide how you're going to allocate, risk for that. So I hope that helps. Most of the market wizards, they ask all the market wizards how long before they started making money trading. Most of them are into like the 5-year mark. I think 5 years is the average. Many of them were past that. Some of them are before that, 3 to 4 years. But it's just, I really think like this, guys. It's just like everything else. This is just like everything else. As much as the opportunity is there and the barrier for entry is non-existent, the skill set, right? The time that it takes to develop and get good and build experience, it's the same as any other sport or profession or career, right? Like, you're not going to be really good at outside sales, at cold calling, at closing deals in like 3 or 4 months, right? Like, you're not going to be able to compete with the guys that have been doing it for 10 years in the first 6 months. The same goes for any sport, right? Any sport that you name, you're not going to be as good as the guys that have been doing it for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years in your first couple months. But in trading, for some reason, we compare ourselves, right? And we think that we should, and we're not even close. We're not even close. So hope this helps. Have a long-term mindset. Like, realistically, man, a safe bet, 3 to 5 years. Give yourself 3 to 5 years. Don't expect to make any money in the first couple of years. Only expect to try to limit losses while you learn. You break even for a long period of time, typically, and then you start to go back and forth, and it's this slow, gradual grind. There's no, at least in my humble opinion, there's no day where you flip a page, and I repeat this, and it's all roses and rainbows, and you go from an unprofitable loser to a profitable, consistent pro trader. It does not happen on one single day. It's this gradual progression of sucking really bad and being terrible and getting slightly better and losing less and less money. And then maybe you start to break even, you make money a little bit, and then you fall right back into old habits, so you're still losing money. And then you go back and forth, making money, losing money, and a little bit more consistent, you break even. You're like, holy crap, man, I'm not losing money anymore. I'm actually like, starting to tip the needle. And then you start to tip the needle in your favor, right? But for me, and I think for most people, the journey isn't, oh my gosh, I woke up on Monday and now I've only taken wins, right? You just kind of get progressively better. And then there's always the question of scaling, right? There's always a challenge in front of you. You start to break even and make a small amount of money, and you can do that. But what about making more money? What about taking on more risk? What about larger wins and larger losses? And there's always that ladder to climb. So that's the thought process. I hope that starts to answer the question. I try to be really long-winded with that because a lot of guys just go, yeah, I've been trading for 8 years and I was profitable after 2 years. Like, that doesn't really give people what they want. They hear that and they go, okay, 2 years. I can be profitable in 2 years. Or, I made this much money in my first 12 months of trading. Oh, okay, I can do that. Have realistic expectations, guys. Most people have horrible expectations and it hurts them. It holds them back. It's the reason that they don't make money. Reframe that crap or wrap it up. That's really the harsh thing that I would say. This ain't a get-rich-quick scheme. The opportunity is there, which is why it entices people. The barrier for entry is extremely low. It's why it entices people. The failure rate is so high because almost nobody makes it to the point where they would even stand a chance to know if they were consistently profitable or not and start making money. They lose money and quit, right? That's why it's so low. So, have that long-term mindset, or move on to the next thing that you think is a get-rich-quick scheme, like Amazon FBA and drop shipping and running some kind of online store, and lose money at all of those, because those are all actual businesses that you could make money at if you treated it like a business and you spent years and time and capital and energy learning the nuances of it and gaining experience and getting good at it. It's like anything else. So that's the thought process. That's the thought process. Long rant. True. Daniel, I just answered that question. How long have you been trading? Don't. Are you joking me? How long have you been trading for? I think that helps. I've been doing it for years and still stink at it. Yep. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the club. Yep. I've been in year 3, and I'm almost at the point where I'm ready to say, I see turning around small profits coming. Yeah. 2.6 years. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I am. I'm eligible for my first futures payout after switching from Forex. Nice. All depends on you. Nice. Did you trade Dow during that time? Carolina, and again, for you guys that missed it, I'll throw the link in here in a minute. I have a podcast with ASFX. I have 2 of them with them. I have one with Boris Schlossberg. I have multiple roundtables, and I go through again and again, like the whole transition, but really, just so I don't repeat it too many times, but really quickly, it started for me with stocks, quickly transitioned into crypto, where I was trading crypto in live accounts at U.S. regulated crypto, whatever you would call them, brokers, I guess, firms, long only trading, losing money there. But that was where I really started to get focused on technical analysis. I think those were my first pictures. I was actually looking back, those were my first pictures of charts with Bollinger Bands and of course a bunch of different stupid indicators. That transitioned quickly into Forex, and I got most focused and I spent the most amount of time before coming over to futures at the end of 2023 into 2024 on Forex. And it started with Forex pairs, right? Traditional Forex pairs and mostly swing trading. Spent a lot of time there, and that's really where I started to grab some consistency, where I started to break even, started to turn a profit. And of course, you think you're profitable way before you're profitable 100 times, and then you go, oh, well, not there yet. But I was trading Forex and CFD prop firms prior to coming over to futures, and I was trading US 30 primarily, along with a little bit of NAS 100 on those prop firms. And so I had traded Dow for a considerable amount of time before I ever came over to futures. When I came over to futures, I traded Dow, NASDAQ, and ES. I really got focused on ES. Just seemed to be a little bit easier to handle. And Dow has been in the back pocket for quite a while. Here I am back on Dow. But yeah, it's going to depend on you. It's going to depend on you how long this thing takes. This looks like we want to break down, guys. We're starting to get some volatility. I'm going to comment on the market because I'm just getting that feel for it. Looks like we want to break down. We sold off really aggressively towards this IB low, right? This session low. Pull back up to VWAP. There's a continuation play in here. Gun to my head, I'm short, but I'm not going to take this. This is not going to be it for me today. For all the reasons that we talked about earlier, there is definitely a break of IB low, right? If it happens, there's a break of IB low, break and retesting VWAP multiple times, not able to continue to the upside. Looking for a continuation play to the downside, right? Here's what that would look like, here or outside of IB low, just outside. It's not terrible, right? But you kind of be preempting this break of the IB low, the break of all these lows, the failure to move higher, and going for the continuation lower. I don't love this. I think we could chop. I think we can come back up and chop. I think we'd be faking out down here again. I think we sweep this low. This just doesn't look super duper directional. Started to get wiggly. We got a little bit of volume that came in, definitely on ES bookmap. Yeah, you can see a little bit more of it on bookmap for YM as we're coming lower. I think we got a pretty good indication that we could break this and continue to the downside, but I'm not going to take this. It's not I'm going to exercise my discretion and say this is just not good enough for me today. I don't like no sweep of session highs, of the daily highs. I don't like any sweep of, no sweep of like, prior day high anywhere up here, all the things that we talked about. This could go, but I'd be targeting a break of prior day low as well to really make this worthwhile, just for even a 1-to-1. And I also I don't have the thesis that we just sell off super duper harshly today. We certainly could. And again, if I had to take a trade, that's the trade. So I'll leave that up, but I'm not putting risk on for it. It's, there's ones that are close to a valid entry. This is close, but not enough for me to want to put risk on. So we'll see. We'll see how that discretionary idea plays out, right? And when you go back and you look at the days where you didn't take trades, I think it's important to ask yourself, was there something close? Today I'll say, like, this was the closest that I was, but not enough for me to put risk on. How did that play out? Did it rip through your take profit? Well, maybe that's an indication you got to be a little bit more aggressive. You got to, go ahead and throw that trade on that's looking okay, because a lot of times they're playing out. Does it just chop around? Does it go in profit and then stop you back out? Do you get a 0.5-to-1 and then all the way back to a break even, or like what happens, right? And, okay, good. You got a pretty good read, and maybe you do a little bit more of that. So, but yeah, man, good conversations. It's one of the toughest things to think about. One of the toughest things to think about, man. But this stuff ain't easy. It's not complicated. It can be stupidly simple. But trading is not easy, at least in my humble opinion. Very simple, very straightforward. But getting good at risk management, at controlling and creating new responses to your emotions, and to reading whatever tools you want to use, price action, market structure, creating that discretion to do what you watch so many traders so frustratingly do. Like, I'm sure you guys watch me, you watch other people, because I used to do this, and I'd be like, these guys aren't using anything special. Like, they're not really doing anything so special. Like, how are they turning a profit? How are they taking prop firm payouts? How are they getting to live accounts? Like, how is this happening? It's so stupidly simple. And it's time. It's just time. You can't buy that. Nobody can sell it to you. You can't, it's discipline. It's experience. It's just like anything else, right? I run quite a bit. I started rock climbing a lot. You guys maybe follow me on IG. I posted a lot about that on the story this past weekend. It's still up if you want to check the IG. You're rock climbing, and I'm watching these guys, and I'm like, all right, I'm in the gym. I have great endurance. Like, I'm bigger and stronger than these dudes, right? I got pretty good balance. Race motocross, all this stuff. How are these guys they're upside down, holding on to these things like that? Like, I watch exactly what they're doing. I know where to put my hands. I know kind of how to but there's all of these subtle nuances. It's experience, right? It's skill set. You can't shortcut that. I can't, buy a course for one of them to tell me where to put my hands and how to do stuff. They can mentor you. They can give you tips. They can show you how to, move your hips closer to the wall and, use chalk and get the right shoes that fit and all these types of things. But, it's years. That's what separates, the dudes that are doing 10 levels higher than me this weekend. And I'm over here struggling on baby steps. So, be realistic with this stuff. Don't be sold on the BS. Be realistic with this stuff. That's my 2 cents. Let's see. Breaking IB low. Do we get a continuation down here? We go and crack the low. Oh, I didn't want to do that. That's what I'd be looking for. This would be the trade. We'll mark it up. We'll see. Somebody poked this market with a stick. Yeah, it's like the meme, right? Market's not doing anything. I'm gonna hang out with you guys for a little while longer because it's good conversation. We needed to get through the whole prop firm conversation, Project X. If you missed that, we talked about Project X pulling third-party support from other prop firms, the transition for Top 1 futures, for all of the other prop firms that have Project X, the Top Step thing. You can go back and watch that. Otherwise, we'll have a good conversation, man. Somebody poked this market with a stick. Would you mind if I ask you would you mind if I asked you, how would you, if you had to start again, how would you choose to grow as a trader? Sorry, I was trying to read it and work that way towards profitable stage. Tom, it's a good question. Here's what I would do. Here's the changes that I would make, right? Because I would do what I did with some changes. Here's the changes I would make. I would reframe my expectations to understand that this was going to take a lot longer than I thought it was. I would slow down because of that reframed expectation. I would slow down on trying to make money trading. I would focus more on the learning stage of trading. I would take all of the expectation away, and I would focus more solely and wholly on the learning of trading, right? I would also, knowing what I know now, I would move away from strategy development and indicators and tools much quicker. I would get off of that as quickly as possible, and I would try to start to think about my emotions, my mindset, the way that I'm thinking about trading. Why can't I hold my winning trades? Why do I keep moving my stop loss? Why am I not able to stick to my rule set that I set for myself? All of these mindset and psychology, right, issues. I would back test heavily the way that I did. I would forward test on demo. I would keep it on demo for as long as I possibly could until I started to gain some consistency. And then when I moved to putting risk on the line, I would put the smallest amount of risk on the line so I could keep it focused on the trading itself. I wouldn't do what I did, which was go directly into huge size live accounts, directly into a live account that you would throw up if you knew what somebody with my level of experience and zero track record decided to start trading, right? Maybe not. People do it with worse, but I would do that. I would make that, rather than to have to put your hand on the stove with so much risk on the line over and over and over again, and not be able to think about trading itself and just constantly be thinking about, the amount of money that you're losing. Along with that, I would read every psychology book earlier, quicker. I would read and reread Trading in the Zone, Best Loser Wins, Mental Game of Trading, Market Wizards, all of these books. I would read them over and over and over again. Again, that comes from stopping to work on strategy. Just let it go. There's no holy grail. There's no answer. It's inside of you. It's gonna come from all the things that we're talking about. That's what I would do. That's what I would do if I had to start over. I would trade prop firms. I think they're a good outlet for keeping risk extremely low. I would keep it extremely simple. I would try to simplify my trading as much as possible. Incredibly simple. Strip everything away from the charts, make it stupidly simple. And I would focus on risk management. I would focus on trade management and risk management. That's what I would do. And then I would tackle everything. Maybe that would have shortened my learning curve. Probably would have a little bit. And I'd get to where I am faster. And I would also recognize last piece, that there's a never-ending journey. There's no day where you have it all figured out. You have to realize it's an ongoing, path to scaling, and that there's always going to be another level. There's always going to be a challenge that's going to kick your ass and throw you right back on the floor again. When you go from trading demo to the smallest amount of risk, and then when you put more risk on, and then when you trade, a prop account and then multiple prop accounts or live accounts, it's always that next level, and that loss is going to hurt more, and that, that profit's going to be harder to hold. And trading's the same, right? The stuff is all the same. The buttons you're clicking are the same, but it's like raising that tightrope up off the ground that we talk about with Tom Hogard. So, let's see. Zach, I need your advice. I built my buffer up to 2,700. Now I'm allowed to withdraw 50% of that, which is 1,367. God's battle. Are you still here? Because I'll answer that question, but I know I waited. Do I withdraw all the eligible profits and pay myself? First, let me know if you're still here. Twitter trading makes it look easy. Yeah. Everybody is 100% win rate. They're profitable in 6 months. They make $100,000. Yeah. That's how it goes for everybody. That's why so many people are making money with trading. It's obvious, right, guys? Always take the payout. Had the same option twice. Blew the account. Yeah. Let me know if you're still here. God's battle. I'll answer that question for you in detail. I'm going to ask you more questions, and then I'm going to answer it. Appreciate it, Zach. I do feel as a trader, I am quite good with my risk, patience, sticking to my own strategy. I was real bad, but I feel like I've grown as a person. Absolutely, man. The reason I ask is because you'll keep it 100. And like you're saying, I believe that I'm good with my psychology. I place one trade, win or loss, risk the same amount. Emotions will always be there, but I'm learning to push them away. I don't feel like it causes me to revenge trade or anything like that. 100 views. So thanks, man. Just as hard. I still haven't seen a payout. Worked can pass the accounts, but I feel like then maybe I'm not getting anywhere. Nah, man. Yeah, no, it's all good. It's all good, man. It's a long game, dude. It's a long game. And I would just say, you know, these all sound like you're on the right path. They all sound you're on the right path. Awesome. God's Battle. I'm going to ask you a question. God's Battle before I finish with Tom. Real quick. Here's the stuff, the information that's going to give me. Have you taken a payout before? Have you taken a couple payouts before? Like, you don't have to give me hard numbers. How long have you been trading? You know, have you taken a payout before from Top Step that I'm assuming that you're talking about, the way that you talked about the 50%? You know, like, where are you at in your trading? How long have you been trading for? Have you taken a payout? You know, how many payouts maybe? Have you taken a couple or consistent? Because that's gonna determine the answer. Yo, Tom, here's what I would do, right? Because you're on that path and it feels like monotonous and the growth is so damn slow, and I continue to find myself there always. Even right now, I'm like, come on, bro, like, size up, let's run it up, you know? Ask yourself this, always fall back on, you know, do you have a good process? Are you reviewing your trades? Are you going back and doing the hard work? You know, are you journaling? Are you still trying to continue to improve without, this one would have paid, without just trading day in and day out and like gambling away or doing anything crazy? Like, are you still putting the hard work in? Because sometimes we kind of let go of that. And I'm guilty of that myself, for sure. You know, you want to keep it a little bit elementary and do your review, go back and look at the markets. You know, when you're trading, are you really focused? And if all of those things are correct, you know, and you're still looking to improve every way that you can without reinventing the wheel and doing new strategies and all this craziness with indicators, you know, then you're on the right path. And you're on the right path. And it's a slow grind, man. Slow grind. Awesome. Yeah. Still here. Awesome. Got funded. Took a payout. Didn't leave enough buffer. Lost my funded. Back in the combine. On Forex, I've been trading for 3 years. I haven't taken a payout in over 7 months. Yeah. Okay. So here's my thoughts. H Brown and God's Battle. Talking about like when to take a payout, when not to take a payout. Short would have paid, guys. Yeah, that's okay. Exercise patience on this one. Again, we started to get what really looked good in here, just to talk about this, like why I snapped over. You can see it on my face. You can see it on the screen if you go back. We started to wiggle. We started to really get wiggly in here with price action. We finally got some more movement coming towards this low than we had at any other point. A little bit of a read of price action, the way price was printing there, right? A little bit more volume coming in. We also saw it on Bookmap, and I happened to be watching ES at the time, but it was right in here. It was right in here. What time was this actually? Damn, Project X. Don't not load on me. Yuck. All right, I'm not going to mess with it just in case it stops loading. But it was right in here. It was right in here as we started to get some volatility that came into the market. All right. What candle is this? Yeah, 11 a.m. Right in here. Started to jump on CBD as well. Again, not enough for me to want to take it, but would have been a nice one. So, you know, again, like I said before, I was putting this little position tool on. If I find a lot of these when I trade live and do what I just did here with you guys, or I take a look, little review and say, did I have a little indication of something? And I had one, you know, I wanted to trade potentially one way, but I decided against it. If those are paying, if those are playing out, be a little bit more aggressive, right? Maybe take some of those trades. They are not bad setups. You know, there seems to be a good way to structure risk in what you're seeing on the chart because, you know, they're paying you. Not on one trade, right? Not on any one individual day. You know, if you're finding, well, it's chopping and I know I shouldn't be trading, so let me just put a position tool on there and see how it plays out, and then you get stopped, you know, maybe you don't put those on. So we'll see. We'll see how this one pays. Doesn't pay you to put a position tool on the chart. To not put risk on, but worth watching the market, even if you know, even if you're not going to get something. So coming towards prior day low right here, I don't know that I would look to fade this move to the downside. I'm gonna see what happens down here though. See what happens down here. I'm interested. Yeah, dude. So God's Battle, real quick. In your case, and nobody can tell you what to do. Here's what the question is. For the most part, the answer is take a payout. For the most part, for most people, as they're coming up, take the damn payout. Put the money in your account. Make it real. Don't leave it to, don't worry about the buffer. Don't worry about any of that. Just try to qualify for the smallest payout that you could take and take a payout, right? After you've taken a payout or some payouts, or you started to grab onto some consistency, and you've built that confidence, you check that box off as paid out this week, this month, paid out trader, you build on that momentum and you go, I know taking this payout is not going to leave me with a lot of room and I might blow the account. You know, that's not good. That's not good for me. That's not good for the prop firm. I know that I can't repeatedly do that without starting to run into some issues. But don't forgo money if you have the opportunity to before you're ready to do that. So in a case where you've been trading for a few years and you haven't had a payout in a long period of time, or you're finally eligible, like what am I doing personally in that situation? I'm getting paid. I'm putting $1,300 in my account for sure. And I'm leaving $1,300 of buffer in. Like that's not nothing. You're not killing the account. And then I'm building from there. I'm you know, maybe reinvesting in more prop accounts. You know, I'm able to trade and pass multiple more combines and have multiple funded accounts with $4,500 of drawdown. And I'm in a much better spot than if I didn't take that payout and then maybe blew it. But it's a double-edged sword. It's a double-edged sword. I think there's a progression. If you've never taken a payout, why are you aiming for a $10,000 payout or a $5,000 payout, right? Or a $2,500 payout? Take any payout. As you go on, if you've taken multiple payouts, maybe it makes sense to build more of a buffer, right? If you get more consistent, more confident, build more of a buffer. But for the most part, I can't tell you how many times I've heard the same story over and over and over and over and over again, where people blow huge accounts on the way to bigger payouts, bigger profits. I've seen some that are insanity, absolute insanity, tens and tens and tens of thousands of dollars down the drain because you were shooting for some huge arbitrary number for no reason at all. And just small amounts, you know, that $1,300 on the line. So that's my thought process, man. Can't tell you what to do. There's double-edged sword with everything. For the most part, I think taking the payout as soon as you become eligible makes sense. That's what I think. For the most part. As you get more experienced, just like trading small size, working towards a small payout, that all makes sense. As you get more experienced, more risk, leaving more shooting for larger gains right out of the gate, leaving more buffer in the account, right? All of these things. You know, you also don't want to fall into the habit of just repeatedly taking, you know, a payout and then blowing an account. That's not okay to do in the long run. And don't do that intentionally. Yeah, man, I worked my way up. $1,100 in my account. Never took a payout because I wanted a much bigger and ended up getting mad drawn up. Yeah. You recommend backtesting every weekend for the start of the week and say I lost my trade since I struggle. Yeah. Going back to backtesting it's an interesting conversation. I like backtesting to warm up. You know, once you're confident, I like backtesting to warm up really only. I like what I like to do most now, and this is going to change, I think, probably as we all go on. I like to review the week, go back on, throw executions on the chart, or I don't even have to. I know where my trades were, and look at my trades. Look at the trading day. What did I see? You know, when I was looking at that, why did I do what I do? How did that work out? Was there, you know, is there a repeated pattern that I'm finding? Am I closing my trades too early? Am I holding on to my trades too long? Am I not clipping losses that are not working out? You know, where do I need to adjust? You know, what could I do a little bit better of? Giveaways, random days, random times. We haven't done one yet. I was thinking about taking a 1K payout. Is not a lot, but dude, yeah. But so here's the other thing. Reframe your mind. 1K, $1,000 from a prop firm account. Let's think about this. It's because here's like the comment. It's not a lot. $1,000 from a prop firm account is, in almost every situation, a very big return on investment for any one individual prop account, right? Also, relatively, majority of traders are not taking any prop firm payouts. They are only losing money. Majority of traders have no profit. So it might not be a lot to you because maybe you make a lot of money. So relatively speaking, like to your capital and where you are in your life, but taking a 1K payout, majority are not taking a $1 payout or a $200 payout or a $500 payout. So, you know, get paid and don't have an ego. I constantly take small payouts. I love taking small payouts. It's awesome. Put yourself in a risk-free mindset. Pay yourself, put the money in your bank account. Like, it ain't real here. This ain't real. This ain't real until it hits your bank account. This is all sim game that we're playing. So, you know, hope that helps. I'm getting paid. Thanks, Zach. I'll tag you when I post a cert on IG. Still need that chop though. Thanks. Yeah, I got you, man. I hear you. Yeah, man. Again, I think this stuff should just make sense logically. Where are you at? Where are you at in your trading journey? You know, how much risk should you have on? If you haven't crossed these boxes off, why are we trying to cross these boxes off first? You know? So I made a reel about it. Here was the joke. A lot of traders, they're trying to play like the game, whatever video game you want to think of, in impossible mode. They're putting the game in difficulty level extremely hard. And instead of doing the tutorial, like backtesting and forward testing and trading on demo, and then playing the game in easy mode, which is I'm going to try to just hit the bare minimum requirement for a payout and take any amount of payout. And I'm going to beat the characters in easy mode first. They're over here on expert mode, only going for a $5,000 or $10,000 or $25,000 payout, copy trading 47,000 accounts, and just blowing it every single time. You are not learning the skills. You're just button mashing, bro. You're sim farming, button mashing over here, hoping to beat, and then you beat the guy one time, and you're never able to replicate it because you don't know what the hell you did. Stop button mashing on expert mode. Come back to do the tutorial. And then do easy mode first. And then once you do easy mode, you build confidence, you learn something, then you come over to medium, and then you go up from there. You know, like that's, you don't have to put the bar so high, like lower it down. And I get it. There's another dynamic that comes in, which so many people lose so much money first, myself included, that we want to make it all back really quickly. And we're not making money trading. We're not consistent trading. We're not profitable trading until we make back the first 1,000, 5,000, 10,000, tens and tens of thousands that you lost first. You know, clear that from your mind and just try to make money, you know, trading as you are in your trading journey. That's kind of the thought process. Why you enter this trade? I didn't enter this trade. It's just it's a position tool in the chart. My trading buddy was up 5K and 100K account with a CFD prop firm earlier this year. He was targeting 10K, had never gotten a payout, and he ended up blowing it. I was livid. Till now, no payout. Guys, hit the like button. Yeah. Appreciate it, brother. Change my mindset. Appreciate you, Zach. Thank you. On a good path. Now, hopefully, get my payout soon. Keep you posted in Discord each day as it comes. Yeah, man. Just go slow with it, man. That's the other part. Take it slow, man. Don't focus on that payout. Don't focus on the profitability. Don't focus on break even. Just focus day in and day out at grinding it out every single day. Focus on the process. What do you need to do to trade well? What do you need to do to structure risk? What do you need to do to get better? What is your job today? Right? You know, it's hard to do. It's really hard to do. I find it difficult to do every single day. I really do, guys. But try to just release everything else that you can from your mind and just focus on the process. You know, the goal is big. It's a huge goal, and it's daunting, and it's you know, really, really far out there. But if you focus on that goal, you're thinking about the wrong thing. So I hope this helps. This helps. Yeah. Yeah, guys, I'm still like staring at the market with you. We came down and tapped prior day low here, and we're bouncing. We got a sweep of prior day low, and we're coming right back up. This trade would have paid up until this point. Let's see what happens here. Looks like similar moves out of ES, although not coming all the way down. ES staying much tighter. Similar moves out of NQ, just failing to really continue outside of IB low. YM, whoa, we're not trading that contract. YM pulling back up towards IB low. Interesting. Yeah, it would have been bad. Yeah, would have gave me like 70 points, let's say. But I don't know that I would have clipped that as we came down and break the low. I don't think that I would have. But here's what my potential trade would have looked like, the paper trade that I have not taken. Continuation, maybe. But while we're hanging, I know we got a lot of people that hopped on late, guys. We talked, if you want to go back on the live, you can scroll back. I talked a lot, or after I hopped off, talked a lot about the transition from Project X, off of Project X, the mass migration that we're going to see across prop firms. stay tuned. Hop in the Discord. It's pinned to the top of this. I'll throw it in the chat. I'll keep you guys updated. I'm grateful to be able to talk directly with prop firm CEOs and higher-ups and get this information as it comes out as quick as I can. Feel free, hop in the free Discord. I'll keep you guys updated. But more information should be coming out from Top One and from all of the others as far as what that whole transition is going to look like. But for certain and separate from the whole deal, right, because this was in motion, you know, we were talking about it last week. Trade of 8, Ninja Trader Trading View coming to Top One Futures this week. Expected later this week. I'm going to bet on Thursday if I had to pick a day. Maybe Wednesday. I don't know. But as that rolls out, I'll keep you guys updated. Should be pretty cool. Hopefully we see some gnarly, there it is again, discounts for Black Friday week. Black November coming in right now. So, guys, on that note, I'm going to wrap it here. No trade for me today. Pretty choppy. We did have a little bit of opportunity to the downside here. We'll see if this continues. This would have been my potential. This was my potential trade that I didn't take, right? Closest thing to an entry. Interested to see what happens here. I want to see if we come back up and chop. A lot of strength after sweeping that low all the way back up. Interested to see where we go here. So, no trade for me on the live session. That's how I'm going to keep this No News Monday. I'll be trading some side quest accounts later into the afternoon. Don't know that I'm going to throw anything on this live. If I do, I'll call it out in Discord. Keep you guys updated in real time as I have with anything that I've been taking on this live account. So, flat for the morning. We'll let the market open up. We got all week. We got all day. 11:30. Appreciate you guys hopping on here. Live tomorrow, 9:15 a.m. Eastern. Live the rest of the week except for Friday. And then we got Thanksgiving week. I'll keep you guys updated in Discord. Hop in Discord. You can see the updated schedule for the live sessions. We got some days off coming up because we got holidays. Remember, guys, I'm not a financial advisor. I don't provide financial advice. Nothing I say or do is a suggestion or recommendation to do anything at all. Make sure you do your own research. Make your own trading decisions. Read CFTC Rule 4.41 on simulated trading, which is what this is, even in funded prop firm accounts. And the affiliate and partnership disclaimer that says I stand to make money from links and codes in my content, like Top One Futures, code RDF, Bookmap, and others. Appreciate you guys. I'll see you tomorrow, 9:15. Great conversation today. See you guys tomorrow, 9:15. See you in Discord.